So I want to talk about that a bit more. Earlier, you mentioned offensive security and how much respect and admiration you had. Nate gave me a look and started laughing. So I want to revisit a topic from a previous episode. I don't know if you saw, but we were talking about certifications and offensive security in the OSCP, and how the OSCP is like an industry standard pen test cert that everybody really respects.
It is.
I would agree. Especially
it's a really well-known
given
one.
the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah, like the CEH.
It's great if you're going to. Well, I'm not gonna diss on the CEH. It's great for what it is and the things that it's intended for.
Yeah.
If you want to go work for a government position or something like that,
the DoD or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Then it's worth it. Is it something that I would necessarily say you should go get if you're going to go work for a pen test company? Maybe not.
Yeah. So the conversation that we had before was about their other certs, like their wireless pen testing cert and their web app pen testing cert and the OSCE. I made a statement that Nate deemed controversial enough to say like an outro. He was like, "Offensive security, we love you." I'm standing by it. I'm standing by it. I talked to somebody that I work with, Eric Warfield.
Down.
Eric Warfield at the South Denver office. You can hit him up if you want a second opinion.
Wow.
He just signed up for the web app testing cert, and he told me the same thing I've heard from other people. It is PHP code review that has not taught him very much.
So
wow. Okay. All right.
So the web app one, I can say I've heard multiple times now, is not that valuable.
I have some opinions on that, but I'm not entirely sure. Do you want them?
Yeah, I would love to hear your
I think Offsec did a really good job on building out their stuff. Like for instance, the wireless pen testing cert. It had a giant chunk of the book is all about how PHP or not PHP but wireless pen testing works. And that's really good. But it definitely could use a little bit of an update.
Well, because it's all like you're still cracking WEP, right? For the OSWP, it's still WEP and WPA1
and PA2 and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but on the other hand, once again, it's solid work for when it was written.
Yeah.
It may need a little bit of an update.
And I've heard the same thing about the OSCE.
That's kind of how I've heard the same thing. And I'm not dissing on those certs because, to be really honest, writing a cert for a secure once again, I can't hate on offensive security at all. Because they do a lot of this and they do a lot of it for free.
Yeah, oh my God.
They do a lot of work for these things and they're doing a lot to improve the state of pen testing.
Yeah.
Is it perfect? No, but nothing ever is. Yeah. Like you want to talk about, it's really easy, why don't you have these things that are important in your environment? It's like, have you ever tried to write a class? It's freaking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Would we all agree that Offsec is the pinnacle of
excellence? And
I value my Offsec cert pretty highly.
What's
be honest.
better than Offsec cert? Like,
I wouldn't say there's necessary. That's what I'm saying is there's not a lot out there that I'd be like, this is like, for instance, I wouldn't say that, if you want a technical understanding of what you're doing, I'm not going to tell you the CISSP or a CEH or any of these other sorts are going to give you a better technical understanding. Is it perfect? No. But is it going to be a heck of a lot better than most of the other things? Yes. And it also, I will say, it does a great job of weeding out a lot of people who don't want to put the work in. They just want it. Like the amount of people, I think when I started my OSCP, it had a fairly large number of, or it had a lot of people who didn't make it through the entire course. I remember one guy I was talking to and he was trying to do one of the programming challenges for it. And he couldn't understand pointers and it ended up breaking him to the point where I never saw him do the test. I never saw him again. He never popped back on IRC.
Man. Oh, no.
But like there were a lot of people who were really chill people who just, like that. The thing is that one of the things it taught me that was really good was it taught me to beat my head against a problem until it eventually got solved.
Yeah.
And that is something that I had to learn as pen test. I had a lot of the technical skill. I walked in and I went through the book pretty quickly. I think the entire book's like 20 chapter or 20 pages,
like the OSCP PDF.
There's something like that. And I went through that pretty quickly. But
the labs are where the meat of it.
The labs are the meat of it. And the thing is a lot of it is just spent like it's definitely not the easiest test. Because you do have to spend a lot of time learning on your own, and a lot of people are very frustrated that it's not going to hold your hand through everything. Yeah. But on the other hand, some of those lessons about not having to do those things is some of the places where it really, really, really shines in terms of learning. It teaches you a lot more about mindset even the technical stuff is nice, but the mindset part, and I don't think there's any other test out there that does that compared to the OSCP.
Yeah, the try harder mentality, like
Exactly.
definitely helps.
And I feel like once you get out of the course, you don't have any hand holding. Once you're
No,
climbing,
that's
you
exactly.
get the ROE.
You know, there's a new vulnerability that comes out. Congratulations. You have to figure out whether you can exploit it and how to exploit it and find the code and verify the code doesn't do something horrifying, because that happens.
Sending shells out to China.
Yeah, exactly. And so you have to do all of these things, and you have to verify your tools and all of that. And you can't do that stuff if you don't have you can't do that stuff without that mindset and without those skills. And that's, I think, where it really shines.
The OSCP taught me about compiling. I didn't even know that compiling was a thing before I took the OSCP. Like the difference
Did you
between
only use interpreted languages?
Yeah,
at
the
that
difference
point?
between
Okay.
interpreted stuff like PowerShell and Python versus like C compiled into an exe.
Yep.
I had no idea.
I couldn't
Or
stand
even the
doing
fact that C is that compiling C for Linux is different than compiling it for Windows.
Yeah, you have to do
on
certain
top of that,
flags and stuff.
and use possibly even different compilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So OSCP definitely super valuable.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to like start beef with Offsec.
No.
Like I have
As
a
I
lot
said,
of respect for him.
I have
I
a
wouldn't
lot
let
of
that happen.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for the work they do. I mean, but that's the same thing. I guarantee there are people who deal with us that have the same exact kind of complaints.
Yeah. Like Coalfire was good, but not the best. Like that's fine.
Well, not even that. But Coalfire was good. But there's these things that they could do better. I mean, that's the whole point of a survey after you do a pen test. Is,
Right, exactly.
Okay, where did we do well? Where did we do poorly? Where can we improve? Because the goal of everybody, I personally, the goal should not be to be perfect every single time. The goal should be, I'm not going to fail in the same ways.
Yeah. That's important.
And you can't win every single thing.